You ready to record, Neil?
I am ready.
Good. Because I hit record.
Good.
I'll do it. You want me to hit? Then we do it again. I have to hit stop record, then re.
Don't do it again. I think we're good.
Okay, we're good. All right.
I'm going to do this thing.
All right. Episode 63, Strength Hammer Podcast. Neil, how you doing?
Doing great. No complaints whatsoever.
Not
Ready
complaining.
to get into this.
You're not going to complain about the storms that are surrounding your villa.
Yes. Apologies if anybody hears some background noise. It is currently the skies are opening here, and it's possibly the end of days. But I'm safely in my basement, ready to ride it out. I've left my family upstairs, and we'll just see how they manage.
Well, you got all the beer and the miniatures downstairs, I assume.
That's right.
So
I got everything that's important down here. So I'm just kidding.
I'm also in my basement, not because it's storming, but that's just where I live to do Warhammer every day.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's been good. Hope everyone enjoyed the GHB. I hope everyone enjoyed the kind of late release of my travel blog from Tacoma, which I edited the audio poorly on a few sections, but I don't really care, so I hit post. Surprisingly, the intro is like 20 seconds of a Taylor Swift song on my radio as I'm driving. Like it's a song that was on the radio when I was leaving, so I recorded it for Instagram because I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently YouTube doesn't either. I uploaded it with it. I was like, I'll wait for it to say copyright strike and I'll remove it. No big deal. And it's just like, hey, you're good to go. I'm like, okay.
Huh?
I'll take the Taylor Swift song.
Just another blessing from Taylor, right?
Yep, absolutely. Let me see here. I'm gonna try and make our heads a little bigger on this little layout here. There we go. Now people can see us, hopefully. Ooh. Sorry, everybody. We're learning as we go, making it look pretty. So Neil, how's your fitness been?
It's been on hold. So last week had a really good update. This week I got no updates based on being out and injured, but legs starting to feel better. So we'll get back to it soon.
That's good. That's good. Mine continues. I'm getting 4 workouts in a week lately, it seems, which isn't bad. Like it's my 3 main and like a 4th random one that just someone wants to work out, and it's like, yeah, sure, let's go work arms or something fun. And
nice.
It's been good. My commitment, by the way, for the limiting sweets and only having more days without sweets than with sweets, I have failed. Because on the 4th day, and of course, like it's hard to give up sugar. So the first 3 days in a row was bam, I had my treats. I'm like, okay, I'll just white knuckle it for 4 days. Then we had my mom's birthday party that I forgot about there being cake there, so I had some cake.
Sugar's like I believe it's 1 molecule away from cocaine. It's actually more addictive than cocaine as well.
Sure is. But I failed the commitment. But with the effort to try towards it, I have looked at my tracking of food, and I have had less sweets overall. So a little silver lining in it. So I'll keep trying towards that goal. But yeah, I'm not too upset because, like I said, less sweets overall is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So hobby time. Neil, you keep sending pictures, and I don't keep giving pictures. So let's bring up your picture first. Let's start with your hobby.
All right. So this is a little sneak peek, if it's up on the screen there, for what I'm bringing to NashCon. It's my display board and all that. So you can see all the boats arrayed inside the forest. Again, my army's from Gyran, so that's the forest theme and the and all that. So we got the bubble boys and everything. I finished painting up my last few bubble boys. I got kind of a, I guess you could say, thrown together engine master in place of the guy who was going to throw around a purple sun, but I discovered if you have a spell in a bottle, maybe news to you here, Chuck. If you have that, you cannot take the null something adornments, whatever they are.
Oh, does the spell in a bottle make you a wizard?
Anybody who can cast a spell. So any spells that can be cast in your army nullify your ability to take those things.
Is that actually casting a spell though?
I think it counts. So I believe that yeah, you can't have that in there, and also the adornments. So
I the TO in me makes me want to look at those
and check that on
rules.
me. You know, I'm not
Yeah,
exactly a rules lawyer,
yeah.
so
I'm gonna look at
might
it.
be one you want to
We're gonna
might
do
be one you want to run against the across the TOs there as
we're
well.
gonna
Just
we're
if you
gonna
find
we're, no, no, we're gonna do it right now. We're gonna do it
look
right
at that.
now. We're gonna load this up live,
Mhm.
free content. Order. Where's the spell in a bottle on the KO? Is it
Artifacts.
artifacts? What's it called? Because I'm bad at that.
Spell in a bottle.
Spell in a bottle. There it is. Aether Chemist only. I haven't been playing with Aether Chemist on my list, so I haven't even seen it yet. Pick
All right.
one endless spell that does not belong to your faction. You can include that endless spell in your army without spending any points. Blah blah blah. Without spending points, that's good. Oh, I didn't realize there was no points.
I wonder if that's been fact though. So I'd
I'm
check
using the
that.
most updated version of the app, so.
Hmm.
In addition, once we're bound on your phase, the bear can automatically cast. So yes, you're casting. You're right. Okay, done.
Yep.
Done.
So that's why you come here, is for the you know that really in-depth rules analysis that I bring to this podcast on a weekly basis.
Did the app tell you were wrong, and that's why you just went with it?
It did not actually. It
Okay.
did not. Well, in fact, I was listening to Aethercast, and they had mentioned that. It was just like, oh, well, I was not aware of that. I definitely would have cheated.
Yeah.
So
That's right. No, that's a good question because it doesn't feel like it would be a cast, but the rule says is cast, so therefore you're casting. Therefore, null stone, null powder, all that fun stuff that I love doesn't exist.
Exactly. So,
but anyway, it's a lovely fleet. Tried to get a few images up there.
Yeah.
My fleet. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead, please.
So I'll be playing some sea shanties will be played out of there as well. So got a little hole to slide my phone in there, and we'll be playing some Drunken Sailor for this army when it comes to display time. So
there you go. I was that your only hobby? I guess. Should we say that?
That and painting up those guys. My other hobby is I've been printing out some terrain for Big M for his display board. Poorly. I've had my first misprints in quite some time. This is can show the people's what I'm working at here, So big old block of resin here because I didn't know that you have to hollow this stuff out. So this thing weighs a good, I'd say maybe pound and a half.
There you go.
Pretty thick.
There you go.
So yeah, pretty cool looking, but unfortunately, it might just be a ruin at this point.
a ruined dwarf bar.
Yep.
So any games getting in or anything like that?
Yeah, I got 2 games in actually against John DeCoulos. We played both of my lists that I have built up for NashCon. I got 2 wins. So he brought Sylvaneth, and we played some things wrong. We figured out afterwards. He was using an incarnate, and we didn't know that incarnates could actually capture objectives after they go wild. So
it's still on your army list.
Yeah, it's still on your army list, and it's still under his control technically. So
yeah.
So anyway, that might have helped a little bit, but at that point, the only thing he had left in his army was the incarnate. So I think it was going to end out for me at that point anyway, considering he didn't have anything left to get his grand strategy either. So I think I got that first one there. That was my list. I have 2 frigates, a bunch of bubble boys, a bunch of heroes, 3 artifacts. Lots of fun, but I think we'll talk about that closer to NashCon. And then the other one,
we'll do a full NashCon prep show to talk about it. We'll get Matt on. We'll do all KO chat, talking about our list, our display boards, however much for detail we want to get to. We'll review the contract too while we're there.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Might have to make some adjustments to that too, but I'll talk to that.
Yeah, message later. Yeah.
But yeah. So second game was the game I have an ironclad and then a bunch of gun haulers and a bunch of dudes in the ironclads. It's kind of like a clown car list a little bit.
Yeah.
So he had a Larial and an Incarnate, And this
What?
time
Wait,
yeah,
good thing
yeah.
Battle Line's 90 points in that freaking army. Jeez.
Yeah, you had like 3 sets of 5 of the revenants or whatever
Revenants,
the hell
yeah,
they are.
yep. Bouncing
Um,
around everywhere.
yeah. So they just went to go get objectives and everything. But he took turn 1. We both had a 1-drop. He took turn 1, ran Ilario up the board, was able to kill a single gun hauler, and then had her in range of for me to just move my boats over top of her, drop all sorts of bombs, charge in with an ironclad with the battering ram. We shot the incarnate and did 5 wounds against it. And if you know how incarnate works, it's a little bit like Croak. You roll 3 dice, and as long as you don't roll under, I believe it's under the amount of wounds that was done, it's good. It doesn't take any damage, right? Well,
Yep.
he rolled a triple 3.
Oh.
So, so, he, so he went down to the lowest level, and then I won the
Ouch.
roll off. I'd have charged in. I'd have wrecked Ilariel. Well, Ilariel was already wrecked at that point, and then
Yeah.
the Incarnate would have went bye too. And so there went about, oh god, what was it, 1,300 points of his army?
Oh yeah,
You know?
I mean
Easy.
that type of list is gonna put hair in your chest, but maybe out due to stress, it's gonna be white hair real quick.
Yeah. So, but yeah, watch out for. He's got that. Who's the lady with the big flute? In
Oh,
Sylvaner?
I thought it was a male, but yeah, it's the one from Broken Realms.
I
It's a
just
cool
assume
model.
everything's female in Sylvaner. Yeah, it's anyway, that one
Yeah.
watch out for, because if that hits one of your boats, especially if they use a primal dice, so he could potentially be rolling 3d6, maybe more, maybe 4d6, and on 5 pluses. So it's let's say he rolls a 15. So he rolls a 15 dice. 5 pluses are mortal wounds on, and he does that on every single unit within like 9 inches
Yep.
of a spot.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you have like one boat and something like that happens, it's not good.
Oh, if
So
anyone decides to bring on a whim that Blizzard spell from the GHB, like
yeah,
it's
oh
just
yeah,
it's a dead boat per turn for us because they're gonna throw all their primal dice and just be like,
not for
aha.
me, son. I've got an artifact that says no to that. I got
Oh,
the
yeah.
Voidstone Orb.
Yeah. We gotta bring that.
Uh-huh. Got to.
Nice. No, that's fun. Congrats on the wins. That's always good.
Yep. So nice. I thought I'd have 2 entries into the Book of Grudges. Turns out I didn't have any.
Is your book still empty? Do you have
No, I
one?
have 1 entry, and that's
Okay.
so 3 games, 1 entry, and that's Dave Roke. It really burns
Oh,
my ass.
who's
But
over in England right now enjoying Warhammer World?
he
Takes his
this
win
morning.
and runs. Look at that. Look at that.
Uh-huh.
That's
But that's my hobby.
that's some good hobby. Let's
Yeah.
see, my hobby. I got a game in of Warhammer Fantasy at the Barn Night. Tomb Kings versus Tomb Kings. We did Cetra versus I I'm not a big Cetra's cool, but Mark, who also painted my army and got it for me, he loves chariots and horses. So I'm like, you take Cetra. Cetra leads your force. You do the chariot army. So I got Queen Chaldea, but I also kit bashed up an Archon for one specific reason. One, because they actually didn't make an Archon the black model. I didn't realize because I didn't play Tomb Kings. And I just grabbed the new Archon and kit bashed him to be on foot. Looks pretty cool, but
Wow,
because I was really thought his cape is a nightmare to rank up with everything, but I'll figure that out later.
Mm-hmm.
But since Archon follows Nagash and he's kind of the opposite of Cetra, so I went with Archon so we could have a civil war. So we finally decided to have our first civil war battle. 1750 points, and Mark brought all his chariots and Cetra, sight to behold, and I brought pretty much my standard list. There's some deviation I can do here and there, but has some archers, has some tomb guard, has some heavy cavalry, has some scout. Just has a little bit of everything. And I'm relying on magic. He's relying on charging. So we're going back and forth. I'm trying to cast spells. I managed to take what's the level 6 spell for Archon, which is Death, which is the circle. No, it's that Purple Sun. I think it's Purple Sun. Yeah, it's Purple Sun. And I kept managing to roll the miscast on how far it went, and centering it back on myself, and kept hurting myself. Thankfully, I'm somehow my unit's still surviving this, because it's initiative test or slain. Okay, we're getting through this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally get the big one off. I'm like, screw it, 6 dice, let's go, get it off. Have the very benign miscast issue going on, whereas his wizard managed to get the worst miscast and lost all his wizard levels down to 1. Had a spell to give him the 5-up ward only. But needless to say, we're at the end of the game. I have Archon and like 4 Tomb Guard. Like all my stuff is just dead, and then there's Cetra and about 8 chariots. Like just staring, like they charged in, get it. But here's the best part: the purple sun is sitting right behind the end of his chariot. So like, here's his chariot. Sorry if you're listening to this, I'm doing visual. We'll use. So here's Archon and the line of Tomb Guard. Here's all the chariots. Here's some extra stuff of his around here because I redirected it.
Mm-hmm.
And right in the center here, purple sun. He says, nah, I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm throwing all my dice to get this ward off. No big deal. What happens to purple sun? It moves literally 3 inches directly this way. But you know what that means? Goes over everything till it pops out to a place where it's not landing on anything. So it hit his entire Cetra line and my Arcane line. So we take all of our tests, and we have to, and there's no, and we just lost everything. Literally everything. We lost Cetra, we lost Archon, we lost all the unit. And we just went, he still had models left. I really didn't have anything after that. So it's like, okay, so he won the battle, but the Civil War is not over because Cetra and Archon didn't actually get to fight in combat once. There was no conflict. They just stood at each other, and the purple sun destroyed them all. And that was the end of the game.
Well, they're dead anyway, so what can the purple sun really do?
They'll come back.
Yeah.
But we'll continue that fun little Civil War over time here and there.
Nice.
So then this past weekend we did a food drive for the local food bank for Warhammer 40K. Local shop gave some prize support, and what it was, it's an idea stolen from one of my friends in Florida, Cody Saltz. And essentially it's playing Beer Hammer, but you're using the food that you're using to donate to the food bank. So Beer Hammer, start with a blank table, you drink a beer, finish a drink, whatever it is, you can put that cup or can or glass or whatever it is down at any time, as soon as it's done. So you can block charges and be like shenanigans. It's all about for fun and randomness. We did the same thing, but you could use the donations. So the cans and the cereals and the cleaning stuff, all the stuff for the food bank that they needed. But once you donated it, you couldn't, it was after the game, it was moved to the donation table. So you had to bring enough to last all the games. So it encourages people to bring a bunch of stuff. And as you donate stuff, you got tickets for the random prizes. But we had this huge, like, the 4x6 table, just completely full of like lots of stuff. Hopefully it's a large amount for the food bank. Yeah. I don't know how much they actually like get. It might be a pittance, but it was good to do something fun and help out for a good cause. So that was good. I got to play 2 games with my Yanari. I'm still undefeated in 10th edition with my Yanari because it's ageofsigmar 2.0 and the Eldari are broken. So let's have fun.
That looked really cool. I enjoyed looking at the pictures and everything from the event. And,
I mean,
honestly, the foods did a pretty good job of standing terrain. So hey,
yeah,
what the hell?
As a TO, let me tell you, it's great to not have to lug terrain up and down the stairs. You just put the mats out and be like, my job here is done. Let's play some games.
Yeah.
But much to the usual, people still never read the pack, which was just a post of what we were doing, so I had to explain it 7 times. Yay, Warhammer people! Yay, they can't read. And then, actually, this past Sunday, I went over to Alex. He wanted to get practice in for NashCon. He's going to NashCon. So you'd think I'd take my KO over, but he wanted to play a list that could actually do something. My KO list, which thankfully I've put it together now with the help of you and Matt, can earn some points. The list I wanted to take could not earn points. So I looked at it and I didn't have time to figure it out, so I just took Daughter's Cane, like a straight Chiganeth. I didn't even take any shooting. It was actually not the best list I could have taken, but it was just a typical list for me. But we had a good game. He wanted to get reps in. I was like, this is probably better for you anyway, because you'll probably end up facing someone who's playing a real army, unlike me, who's playing my random KO BS.
Yeah.
But we played that game and I won. And I was what helped the most is the fact that every single time for 3 turns, when he went the roll to bring something back, he failed with that little Loon Shrine thing. That definitely was in my favor. My Cauldron surviving just an astronomical amount of attacks, but surviving with 1 wound and completely holding up some of his big stuff was hurting him as well. So a lot of things in my favor for it, but he got some good practice. He started tweaking his list a little bit, and I got a nice dot game in, and I took a win, so I was pretty happy with that. But like I said, now I'm gonna keep the real focus now with KO. I gotta get some reps in. I want to be comfortable with it. I'm true. Well, I want to win. I don't want to beat you and Matt. I don't care if I lose to everybody else, as long as I beat you two. So
I guarantee one of us will play the other one in this event.
It's
not possible that that won't happen.
I know, it's guaranteed. But also,
I hope it doesn't, honestly, because it'd be better for our little competition that it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, somebody's got to win, and that one somebody may get the 1 win of the tournament.
It could be. It could be. It was after working on my KO list, and we'll talk about this more at Nashville. I really wanted to bring the new Regiment of Renown, the dwarfs, because I'm Beric Thrang, and that's what I like. It's just with the points on it and the models I have just does not work, so I had to drop them out. I do think I think I have a list that can put up a small fight for a little bit. I feel more comfortable with it after you guys help me. Boy, was it hard. I wanted to bring what I want to bring, but it's just the points just made it no sense with it.
Yeah.
And then I'll figure out a Gotrek list. But we'll talk about that for NashCon prep show. But I did start planning out a display board. It's not going to be as elaborate as Matt's, nor as well furnished as yours. But I need to have a display board. I want to have something on display. So I have a board I did for my Horse Heresy army for Armies on Parade, which was really basic and very simple. But it's mostly white because I did a snow moonscape base. And I realized it's the perfect base that as long as, and I don't care about it. I don't play Horse Heresy because no one else around here plays it, so I don't need a display board for it. But I realized I could take the sepia wash right over top of it, then dry brush the copper and put out the oxide spots, and it's going to be exactly like my basing for my KO anyway. So I'm boom, there's a good quick start. I have that started. I got half the sepia on it, and now I got to do the rest. But then I got to figure out some sort of buildings, which I might be able to borrow some from the barn, or I might be able to go up to this shop and see if Norm, the FLGS, has some breweries or something. I'm not gonna go crazy with it, but I want to have something to carry the army around on a nice display. If I can get crazy, I will. So I'm going to. So my display board's gonna be secret for one of 2 reasons. 1, because I'm ashamed of it because it's basic bitch. Or 2, because I managed to pull off a miracle and do something really cool and elaborate, and I don't want to show you guys till the day of. So we'll see. So mine's gonna be a bit of a surprise. But
Brad's got some breweries and stuff, doesn't he?
He does. You're right. I'm gonna bug him. See if he has anything.
There you go.
Especially if it's unpainted. I'll be like, hey Brad, you let me borrow that? I'll paint it up for you.
Nice.
No, that's a good call. Yeah. All right. But anyway, my display board will be a surprise. But I mean, my army list won't. But still, regardless, that prep will begin now, unless and listen, and truth be told, I just want to get comfortable enough with the KO army that I can play a game and not be going, what do I do? So I'm playing KO unless I'm playing somebody and they specifically said, Chuck, can you play this army because I want to practice against it? Because since I'm not trying to win this event, I don't mind doing that to help someone else to make them better. That's fine.
Yeah.
Although
I would. Speaking of,
say real quick, the one commitment I will say is I've already committed. Alex is doing a prep day on the 5th. I already said I'm taking KO for that because that's gonna be my hardest prep day. So if anyone that I know is listening to me is like, hey, why don't you bring this to Alex's? No, I'm bringing KO because I gotta I'm committing to that because I want to get tournament focused with that army. So,
and is Alex bringing Gits?
yes, he is going to be doing the Gloomspite Gits.
Nice. Well, God love him.
He's paying up a lot right now.
That's a lot of models to move around, and I know he's got the back for it, so it'll be fine.
Yep.
But I wonder if he has the speed for it. So
actually, that was the interesting part because he used to play cities with his halfling army, and it's like constant, like so much that even I made fun of him. Like he's like this. I'm like, Alex, I don't care. You just tell me what you do. I trust you. But he's like, he's like, I need to do it to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
We were turn 2 into Gits, and he was doing that, and he's just like, God damn it, it's just the same as cities. It's the same as cities. And I'm like, yep, you have fun with that.
Yeah. I'll be playing as many of these practice games as I can. Hopefully get a bunch in against Matt, and we'll just kind of bang our heads together and, little mirror match here, there, wherever. That should be an interesting thing, too, is to play the KO mirror match. That is not a thing I've done, so...
I mean, for me, I've looked at my one list, and my second list is going to be a Gotrek list, and it's really, if I bring Gotrek, I'm just hammering in as hard as possible and try get the boats out to shoot later. But like I play double frigates, so that's what I'll do.
Yeah,
it's the more standard list that I'll play, where it's how do I want to position these boats? How do I want to focus my shooting? Like right now, it's very basic, as in, okay, I'm going to shoot this with everything till it's dead. Shoot this with everything till it's dead, and hopefully I'm not super stressed, but also it's like the nuance is going to start catching me, and that's why I need to get some games in here soon to catch those nuances.
You gotta, what I found is like at first I was like bombing things in and being like, okay, well, I'm going to need all of this to kill this. And then I find out that that's not the case. That's well and dead already. Okay. So I just did some overkill here, and that was too much. Or, or the thing is like, okay, I gotta split this, and like, how much should I put here to take care of it? How much should I put here? And so that's really where you need the experience of, unless you can do math a whole lot better than me, which I cannot. So I just have to learn kind of by experience, like what's it gonna do over game to game to game to game. So
yeah, we get the flow down. It'll be good. And like I said, as it gets closer, I'm looking forward to it. Like this is gonna be exciting. Just the KO shenanigans that are gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's... Oh, and then I'm printing up some random 3D prints that I had for a while of just random things that I'm like my wife's computer desk, my computer desk. I've been painting that up the past 2 nights. I'll have that done soon. And then I'm going to start planning out what my first old world models will be. Like actually, and this is going to be weird. Part of me, because I don't have a project right now, there's nothing exciting coming out that I can see for any other game system, I might be doing a fresh army and just slow grow it. We'll see.
Do you need a tech list for that army?
I think I do, but I want to do something different with that. But
okay,
regardless, I do want one of those tech list sculpts that you have. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I keep looking at it. I gotta paint it up.
But that's a good segue into our main topic of the night, which is old world. Neil, do you know we're old and we live in a world? So let's talk about old world.
I can't wait to continue living in this old world. So.
I know, I'm looking forward to it as well. They just put out, here, I'll bring it up on the screen now. Hopefully I didn't screw it up too much. Yeah, it's there. Oh, wait. Yep. We're good. Yeah, we're good. All right. So, sorry you can't see our pretty faces anymore, everybody. But the latest article, the Old World Development Diary, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So this got you a little jazzed up, Neil. It got me a little excited too. Although there's one thing about it that I'm not excited for, but I understand. But give me your thoughts. Give me your overview of this article. What it made you feel? What it made you think through?
Well, it excited me because we got our first look at some new rules, right? So like maybe how the game's going to play out a little bit, just a little step, a little taste, little appetizer.
Give us an idea of the rules, yeah. Like what can we possibly expect?
So they talked a little bit about frontage.
Yep.
They talked a little bit about whether units are going to break from combat and be destroyed. It's looking like there's going to be a little bit more push pull. And then they talked about magic, and I know this might be the thing that you're less than excited about, and it's the thing that I'm most excited about.
Right. Yep. Yep. Well, let's. So Neil, do you have it up with you to follow along?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
We'll just go. We'll go down through it. Like I said, and you nailed it spot on. There's like the front thing was very neat. I do like the push pull thing that they're doing. A lot better than I think what currently exists in 8th edition, which is what we primarily play. And the magic thing, yeah, I see the magic thing because I see how it works in 40k 10th edition, where it's being used at the appropriate time as opposed to doing it all at once and trying to remember. Like I get it, and I don't hate it, but I like the wild, crazy magic. It's so fun rolling 6 dice, and it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But like, since we're not playing 8th edition competitively in a tournament setting, then it's fun. But I completely get it. So while I'm bummed about it, I can always play 8th edition if I want to and do 6 dice magic.
Sure.
All right. But anyway, that's... Oh, and the reason, too, I want to bring this article up on the screen here for everybody as we look through it. I think these pictures are actually giving away a lot more information that has not been said in the article. We'll work through that as we can. So, first up, we will read through this, everybody, so just tuck in. So, let's see. When we embarked upon the daunting task of designing Warhammer the Old World, we wanted to create a modern game in the mold of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Reimagining of a classic tabletop war game that would appeal to both veterans of the Old World and newcomers to the most venerable of the fantasy realms alike. With this in mind, we set about playing lots of games. That sounds great, and we get this nice, glorious picture of dwarves defending their hold from the might and true high elves. Now, it's nice seeing all the old sculpts here. The dwarves look good on the new base sizes. So do the high elves. You can see in the corner down here with the archers.
Yeah, and you're looking at a lot of wide frontage here.
Yeah, and it's a lot of difference. So we have, let's see, the Slayers are in 5. So are the Iron Breakers. But then you have the archers, obviously, and there's classic 10. And then the just warriors in 9. So like, because as they're about to find out that there's some nuance to that. But 2 things in this picture stood out to me immediately. And you'll see that in other pictures that we go through. First and foremost, all the war machines have bases now.
Yep.
Every single one. And
yep, I was just looking at that myself. Yep. Except I don't know if you count the anvil.
I would.
The anvil back there does not have a base.
It does count as a war machine technically in 8th edition. It does not have a base. That might just be one of those things that's just like, this is fine type thing. But I am curious how the base is going to play out. Is there going to be, like, are war machines still going to be able to pivot like they used to be able to? Or are you going to position them a little bit better in order to fire them correctly? Like, they're not going to be able to move, so you have to be within this, that maybe the arcs are going to come back with specifics on the war machine. That would be very interesting. Secondly, and this could obviously just be a design choice for the photographs, because you have to take that into consideration for all of this. Like the bases on war machines are pretty hard and fast. This is a change. We're going to have to do it. But this other thing that I'm going to point out, no one's mentioned, it seems odd, but I think it seems intentional. None of those heroes are in a single unit.
I was wondering if you're going to say that. Yep. They're all out.
Every single picture we're going to view from here on out has them all out. I don't know what that means as far as rules. I don't know.
My guess is it's more of a marketing thing, because if you haven't seen these models before, you may not know what is what.
Which is very true.
Yeah. But you can play them this way, at least in the old games, old versions as well.
It's terrible to do, but you can.
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder if that's going to be accurate. But if you look over to the far right there, you even got that one Slayer kind of off to the side. Apparently, he's got to be like your dragon or demon slayer, right? Yeah. Yep. So he's out there.
Now what? This and I'm going to read into this, guys, because like this is fun for me and I'm enjoying it. So
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that stands out that make me think that we're going to have a rule set that doesn't require our heroes and lords to be in a unit to be able to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that banner bearer and look at that warden, or maybe that's a warden king, I think, unless it's a rune lord. And
Mm-hmm.
then look at the thane to the left. That's
Mm-hmm.
a. If I was putting this down and I was trying to make this look pretty, one there's all that green space behind them right in front of the warriors. Why wouldn't you
Mm-hmm.
just space them out a little bit better there to make it look more like the banners following behind like the two leaders, or and then even just like okay, they're obviously on the same line as these other two, as far as like a
Mm-hmm.
frontage. But why are they? Why is he closer to one and not the other? It like
Does it look
just
like maybe they're attached to that unit over there,
that
kind of in some way?
that's thoughts. That's just some
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Like I but like just the intentional spacing seems
Yeah.
like there's a reason that they're not going to be out there, as opposed
Yeah.
to just pure marketing.
And
That
if I
could
could jump in there and just say what I would love to see, I hope that this is the case. Like I don't personally love the heroes joining a unit. I like my unit to be my unit, and I like to have my hero next to him, just like this. I think it just looks cooler. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of just sticking the hero because you kind of lose the hero in the unit,
yeah, and
especially in fantasy.
plus also like I mean some of the heroes don't fit well because there's some tight. I mean we got bigger bases now, so it's probably easier. But yeah,
uh
I agree. And it's also then you get to the issue. Okay, you're in combat with this unit. I mean, clearly heroes can push through, but then you do the duels and the challenges, and you're just like, well, do we take the models to the side? Do we replace them? It can be a mess.
right. Yeah,
Uh,
I'd love to see that because
I would too,
one thing
honestly.
that I one thing that, and I don't know if we touched on this in a prior episode or whatever when we were talking about what we like and what we don't like about Eighth Edition and all that.
Hmm.
But I'm not a huge fan of the current rules or the Eighth Edition rules anyway for challenging.
That is the current
So
rules. We don't play Ninth Edition or WAP because I don't want to
right,
say the word WAP more than I have to,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Ninth
I
Edition
don't think
burned
I
us
have to
because we
say
were
it anymore.
Sigmar people. So
Really hoping that I don't have to say it anymore. If you like that thing, God bless you.
yeah, wasn't for us.
But uh, but I don't know. I just like the idea of maybe moving my hero into base contact outside of a unit, and that to me looks cooler,
Hmm.
than just like two huge units smashed together, and then I have to what? I have to pull them out to the side,
Right, and
and
also thinking when we're going to get to the aspect in the future part of this article where they talk about not about giving ground as opposed to breaking.
mm-hmm,
It's nice that you're not just losing a hero out of nowhere because you rolled dice poorly.
right.
So, but please continue your thought.
Yeah, no, I love that. But no, that's pretty much it. I just really like them floating around. I like I mean, it gives me the thought of like maybe they're doing kind of like a Sigmar kind of, you know, bubbles. If you're within this range, then
Can't be
they're
shot, or you can look outside
yeah,
it.
you
Sure.
get some kind of boost. They're talking about the wizards. You're having a place. Well, I guess we're gonna get
We'll
there.
get there, yeah.
So I'll hold on. I'll hold off on this thought until
Yeah,
we get to that.
we'll have a full wrap up discussion. We'll bring all this all together.
Mhm.
But let's
Yeah.
continue to the article. Finish up this. For several months, designers regularly assembled play games of every edition of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, reminding ourselves of the rules in some cases we haven't played in for decades. And to be fair, that's going to be a lengthy process because I remember whenever we were getting back into 8th and I was dragging you all with me, I had to sit
Mhm.
and read the 8th edition rulebook for an entire day just to get it
Mhm.
back in my head. And even still, it's like, whoa, hold on, I need to look this up.
Mhm. Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah.
we wanted to identify which parts of the classic game we enjoyed the most and which parts felt could be improved upon. Here's some tweaks, blah blah blah. Let's get going. Drawing the battle lines. Warhammer the Old World game of mass combat. Happy already. I'm happy already. I like big armies on big armies.
Yeah. Can I
Larger.
say too, just to
Yes.
this point, as cool as I think that Caradron Overlord's army is over there, I was looking at it the other day after having read this article, right? And it's hilarious to me in a way. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about old fantasy like armies that
Yep.
look like armies. That does not look like an army. I don't know what it looks like. It looks very AOS, is what it looks, and that is not a bad thing whatsoever. It is just not something that you'd see in like a big full-out battle, right? So, and I think if there is a weakness of Age of Sigmar in my mind, it's that you don't get the big battle feel that
Well,
you do like you do in
it's very army dependent.
even with the 60 zombies and everything, it just doesn't. It still doesn't feel like
Well, it feels different.
whenever I
I'll admit
played.
that, yeah.
Yeah, whenever I played fantasy, I was able to extrapolate what I was looking on the board. There's 60 guys here, there's 30 guys here, there's whatever. But I could extrapolate that and okay,
Right.
let's just times that by like 3, and that's what the actual battle is. Times it by 10, whatever. Now you got thousands. Like I could picture that. Just kind of back up the picture and okay, well, let's say there's not 40 here, there's 400, right? But I can't do that with AOS as much, and that's okay. It's a very very small critique that I have of it. But
Yeah.
at least Old World and Eighth Edition and everything are here for me to scratch that itch. So
Right. I don't have that problem with the main army I play and just how I usually play armies. I'm 30 Argonaut company because I'm stupid. But I could see that with some armies having that issue. But all that said is I am so happy that we now live in a world where we're going to have the old world and Sigmar, because 8th edition is fun, but I'm looking forward to what changes they do. But they're so different and they scratch so many different itches, just like 40K. And it's just like, I'm so happy that we have all of these. Like, we are in a great timeline for Warhammer, let's say that.
Oh, 100%. Yep.
All right. So, drawing the battle lines. Large armies formed into regimented units that advance with grim intent towards the foe. Rules encourage players to field units of varying size based upon their type and role. Perhaps most importantly, the formation units adopt, how wide or how deep they are just as significant as where they are deployed and how quickly they advance. The rules encourage units with wide frontages, but the ideal number of models per rank is decided by the player, not enforced by the rules. So let's put a pause there. So I think we're going to see going away with horde formation.
You think we are? We aren't.
I think we are. I think because if they don't, because horde formation really pushed Death Stars, because you have the unit of 10, you get the extra ranks of attack, you can put a couple heroes in there. We're going to be safe for a long time. I think one of the things they definitely don't want to have pop up in this game, at least early, would be the Death Stars coming back.
Yeah, but they say perhaps most of the formation units adopt how wide or how deep they are. So it sounds like having wide is good. It also sounds like having deep could potentially be good.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that kind of leans itself to Death Stars, right? You want a big, wide, deep unit.
Sure. I mean, that's a good part too. But then again, maybe because if the heroes are separated out like we see in the pictures, and that's part of the rule set, that could also get rid of the Death Star, quote unquote, or you're just removing something like the extra rank for Horde, but giving it to something else, possibly. But just thoughts. To continue, let's see. To do this, we've ensured that as many models as possible can fight in combat. Giving even those models that are within the fighting rank, but not in base contact with the enemy, the opportunity to bring their weapons to bear. So, wonder what that means, as far as like,
right? So
limited
that's
attacks,
like to me,
or does everybody attack no matter what?
I think that sounds like you've got unlimited. Like, so if you got 10 in a block, and you run into a block that's 5 wide, your 10 guys are fighting. That's what to me it sounds like. You're just automatically those 10 guys are fighting, or they're going to go back to, which I hope they don't do this because it just gets wacky and slows the game down. But back in like it was either 5th or 6th edition, and I remember I was talking to you about this because I was getting confused in the old editions. You used to be able, when you won combat, you would take 2 guys, well, I guess 4 guys from the back rank if you could, and you would pile them in. Kind of, they would start to wrap around the other unit.
Oh, I see.
As you won. That goes way back.
But they are looking at every rule set, so that's on the table.
Yeah, I just don't love that because you're having to take stuff off of trays and then put it back on trays, and then just the battle lines get all kind of, wonky. So hopefully what it means is they're just trying to do the simple thing, which is everybody gets to attack, move on. So that's what I'm hoping.
Let's hope, yeah, and that would make it easier to like take a little bit of modern rule sets into this classic game to make things a little bit easier. And I don't mind if everything can attack, because if you adjust the rules accordingly, it's perfectly fine.
Yep.
Finish off this section. Combined with the freedom to create and arm characters as you choose from a wide range of options, players have a lot of strategic choices to make when building their units and rating their muster lists. Choices that will, in turn, inform their tactics on the battlefield. I don't think anyone thought that we weren't going to have the ability to really get gritty with our characters. Like, magic items are probably like this is stretch to assume, but I bet magic items are back, magic armor, magic weapons, obviously the army specific things. Do you take a shield? Do you not take a shield? I bet all that is back, and that is great because I love doing that, like building a character and then buying the model and then making the character exactly that way. It was a big thing for me.
Perfect world, we even get abilities too that are pointed out.
Ooh, yes.
Amazing. That's a huge wish list kind of thing, but then you could really make it just more than just the items. Now you're making a guy real unique. So
yep. And like I said, looking at this picture again, all the heroes are out and about, so we can hope.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else exciting in this picture. I mean, the old scenery is great to see. I hope they re-release that. Oh, there's more war machines in the back with on the orc side with bases on them. So, all right, breaking the enemy. One thing we were keen for Warhammer, the old world. Why isn't the capitalized? That's gonna bother me. Oh, damn it. Okay. To represent was the push and pull of battle, capturing the way in which a hard-pressed army will gradually succumb to the fatigue and attrition. To achieve this, units that lose a round of combat will often give ground reluctantly rather than immediately breaking and fleeing, while the winner can advance to press their advantage. So there we go. That's going to be a change from 8th edition that we are used to.
To me, that sounds like a little bit of battle shock. To me, that sounds like if I win combat, great. I get to push you back, and you probably lose some additional guys to whatever. So the attrition to me sounds like you're losing some guys out of there. But it's not going to be a wholesale break and just pick up the plate and it's gone. So
yeah, that which, to be fair, and the worst part was always rallying.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's not fun.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah.
So yeah, and it does sound like you could break eventually. Like, it didn't say, like, it said you'd have the attrition before they break. So maybe breaking still happens, but it's not going to be a immediate guarantee. Oh, you decided to roll very poorly in this spot, and you didn't put your BSB close enough to do a reroll, so therefore you're fleeing. And, oh, you rolled a 3. Looks like I rolled a 7. I kill your huge unit, and now we're going to spend the next hour and a half of this game wasting our time because we know the outcome because I killed your important unit.
Yeah. I would love for a break to be just like, okay, it's break. They've broken now. Pull the plate, your guys stay. There's no overrun. There's no any of this kind of stuff. You're stuck right there. You've won that combat. They spent the entire time hacking down the rest of the guys. All right.
I wouldn't mind a break to happen because I think that does make some interesting maneuvers, and there's a lot of play in breaking and doing all that sort of stuff. So I hope it's still there, but I hope it's not as just determinant on like a single dice roll, more or less. So I want it to be there, but I like the push and pull concept that they're kind of teasing here a lot better. Now in this picture here, one thing I really like about this is it's showing units that aren't full. So we don't have full ranks. We have an extra guys in the back of a couple units, even ones in combat and out of combat, which to me says we're going to be paying points per model, just like we used to in fantasy. That's what I'm reading for this.
Or they could be showing units that have taken some casualties.
Possibly, but they haven't done that in any other pictures except for this one. And then this one they're specifically showing models in combat like that and models out of combat like that, which leads me to believe that the implication is we are paying per model again. Which I want. I do want that. I enjoy that crunchy list building for this style game.
Flank charges in there on that. On the very far right, you can see a little flank charge into those Knights Panther. Looks like what they are.
It looks like it. There's a nice little potential auxiliary unit attached to that one field unit, just like it used to be in 8th edition, which I could see being a thing still.
Yep, again, hero off to the side.
Artillery in the back on base. We got the old watchtower standing back there. We got the original mighty castle, mighty fortress. That's it.
Yeah, it looks great at the back of the board there.
It does.
I love that.
And the old hill. I need to get more of those
Classic
hills.
hills.
It's
Yes.
classic hill. I love it. All right. Players will quickly learn, however, that a cunning enemy will use this push and pull of battling units to lay traps, and an advancing unit runs risk of exposing a vulnerable flank to a well-timed countercharge. So, I mean, and in that sense alone, all it's saying is, hey, movement's still a big part of this game, dummy.
Yeah. Yep.
You have to worry about this stuff, which is everyone expected, but it's nice to get that little confirmation. All right, now
the meat and bones. Let's get the meat and potatoes.
Thought we were through that. We're sitting on dessert now. I thought, anyway. The power of magic. Magic is integral to the game, though the mechanics of its use are simple. The untutored wizards of the old world practice strange lores of magic of their own devising, manipulating the winds of magic and crafting spells that suit their purpose. While such recklessness might alarm some, it gives wizards freedom to cast a wide range of spells with ease. So we're going to pause right there.
Let me jump in there. First of all, old world practice strange lores of magic. They're manipulating. Where is it? The untutored wizards of the old world. Okay, now hold on a second. Now, if we're talking high elves here, there's no untutoring going on here. Now, I know they're not technically in the old world, so I'm going to let this slide. All right, but I didn't let that slide against my high elf wizards. Untutored, please.
So, what's interesting though is the way this sounds. So, lore of magic, their own devising, manipulated winds of magic, crafting spells that suit their purpose. It's gonna be interesting because, like, one, I love the magic in 8th edition. I like rolling for my spells. I like planning to bring enough wizard levels to bring all the spells. I love that. But this sounds like there might just be more options. Like, you might just be like, this wizard's from this spell lore, and he gets 3 of these spells. Or maybe it's just he knows these spells and it's listed out. Or maybe even on like his war scroll, for lack of a better term, maybe he just has spells on there now. Or she, that's fine.
Or what I think is going to happen is you get one spell. This is complete guessing. You get one spell for each level of the wizard, right? And that spell could go off in either the movement phase or the charge phase or combat or whatever.
Well,
right?
Should I read the next part real quick then?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
To reflect this, spellcasting has been liberated and spread throughout the different phases of the game, rather than restricted to just one. In doing so, we ensured that every spell available to a wizard can have a significant impact on the battle if cast in the right place and the right time. I'll just finish reading this section. We'll discuss then.
Yep.
Situations where a single spell can decide the outcome of battle are rare. Boo. The focus has shifted from keeping track of dice pools, boo, or hands of cards, boo, onto positioning wizards. This means players will have to plan ahead, moving their wizards as carefully as any other unit. Pause. To me, that implies that's a separate from a unit.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say as far as like the heroes go. If the wizards are moving that way, then maybe the heroes are as well. And if the wizards are having to be kept close in order to make, something more efficient or go better, then maybe the heroes are doing that as well. So another point in your favor, Chuck, to those guys being separate from units. So
that's it. Both to ensure they can bring their magic to the right place at the right time, and to ensure they can counter the spells of enemy wizards. So go back up to look at the pretty picture.
So I wonder whether it'll be like the wizard itself has one single spell, or whether the wizard itself can cast one single spell. But let's say there's a spell for every one of the phases, right? And so your wizard has to be present. Let's say the most important thing is for your wizard to be there in a combat phase to cast a combat spell, right? So if he's level 1, maybe he just gets that one chance. Now level 4 might be able to affect the movement phase and this and that and the other, which will potentially make a level 4 more valuable and more powerful. But a level 1 still necessary and usable by being in the right place at the right time. So I don't know. That's guesses for me.
Sure, and like it could be something as simple as here's the 8 winds of magic, but on the wizard's war scroll, based upon what wizard level they are, you can choose a number of these other spells that are just on their war scroll that can cast during these moments in the game. Or you can sacrifice them to do one of these other spells. Or this is very wide open. I know it's going to be a good change for competitiveness, but I like what I like, which is
Well,
big magic. I love the mechanic of the magic pool system where you're trying to bait out the spells. I love that interplay between the people so much. I mean, that's why I like Kraith. Like, I like that moment where I'm picking up a dice and be like, "Oh, let me see if I get Kraith," and the opponent has to tense, and you have to think
yeah.
about things. But like,
And the
I
problem was
love the
Crate's
interplay
on a
between them.
5 plus, and but 6 dice always happens.
Right, that's fair. Like I said, I
Yeah, the
would
percentages are way off. That's the problem.
right, but like that interplay where like, oh, I'm gonna cast this spell that's useful but not super useful to see if it's something that you think you have to stop, or maybe you want to try and stop it. As I try to play the game of baiting out and not losing concentration
Yeah.
to get to my big spell at the right moment. I love that interplay with the opponent so much. That's what I'll miss most. Not the actual giant magic killing everybody, including myself. I'll miss
I
that
never
interplay a little bit.
I never hated that old Magic. Like I don't hate it. I don't
Yeah,
even dislike 8th edition Magic. But I like. I'm glad we have some change away from that, and if I want to play that, I can still just play 8th. So
100%. And
yeah.
this is going to be the best thing probably for a competitive atmosphere. So
Mhm.
good. And like I said, I'm not going to complain about it. It's just I'm gonna I'm gonna like what I like. All right. Final
That's it.
thoughts. These exciting game mechanics and many more besides, combined with classic elements of a beloved game, give players both old and new plenty to consider when planning their armies and mastering their tactics. Please don't give me battle tactics in this game. I will throw a fucking hissy fit. All right,
No,
anyway,
there's no,
I know
yeah,
there's not.
there's no.
It's an exciting time, and we're looking forward to seeing the serried ranks of fantasy armies marching across the game tables once more.
Oh yes, yes we will.
So we'll just leave.
Uh,
We'll bring up the first picture because it's big and it's cool. So we discussed here for a little bit. So
mhm.
Neil, you're jazzed now. You're excited.
I am. I'm actually so when I was thinking about my armies and everything and playing 8th versus playing Old World, and what do I want to do? Do I want to rebase? Do I not want to rebase?
Yep.
Do I want to not rebase and put them in movement trays that just kind of expanded out to the right sizes? That way I can move back and forth between 8th and Old World just
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
But the question to me is if these characters can't rank up or don't go into the units, then those are going to get rebased for me. I feel like I have to rebase them at that point to play Old World with, right? Or actually have multiple of the model.
Or
Maybe I
print
keep
or print out an individual trait just for that character.
You could, I guess. I don't know if that'd be interesting if you have one that just converts a 25 millimeter to a 32 or whatever, or a 20 with 25 rather is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so because originally I printed out a model and that model that I showed you and I put it on I put it on a 25 and I'm like I need it to be able to get into my movement trays though, and I think I'm
Yeah.
just going to make the expanders, so I put it back onto a 20. Still stands up, which is good, but less models that fall over, that might push me over the edge to the rebase. So,
Yeah, I look specifically at my dwarfs. My dwarf warriors are a nightmare on 20 mils. On 25s, they'd be great. So,
mhm,
but
yeah.
to start, like I said, I think I'm going to do a fresh army, just a flat fresh, because I did the Tirathi model, and she's on the 25, and like, yeah, it looks good. It's fine. I love it. I don't, I don't, I don't care. I'll probably get the movement trays for some of my other armies, just so I can play with them without having to rebase right away.
Mhm.
But also, I think locally around here, we're not going to stress about rebasing. But I do want to have an army based appropriately in case I ever go to a tournament. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I'm excited for some of these changes. Like I said, I'm curious what the war machines with bases means. I'm real curious what this hero thing standing out means. I am dead certain that it's not just for marketing pictures. I think that they're showing this for a very obvious reason.
Yeah. Well, I think with some of that, what they're saying there too, with the wizards having to be moved around,
Yep.
right? If that was the case and they were just in the unit, then who cares?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm you actually sold me on that the more we read into it. So
Plus, also cool things like seeing. I love command squads. I'm glad that we're probably going to still have those, and they'll probably have some sort of like mini interplay. Hopefully, we can still upgrade units with some magic banners for like an army.
mhm.
yeah, like I'm excited that this looks to be just a modernized version of the game we love, mixed with old rules that I never really got to experience. And
Mhm.
yeah, we're gonna get some old models back too that have been gone for a while. Like I only have one
And
lion
we'll get
chariot. I only have one of the what's the what's the bird carrying the flying boat thing for high
the
elves.
Sky Cutter.
Yeah, I only have one of those, so
I have zero of those. So
get a
that
few
might
more
be
of those
one I
would be.
have to pick up.
And Neil, as much as I love it, I may if they resell it, I may buy an official Thorgrim Grudgebearer model.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
Like the
100%.
one that you gave me is great, and I love it. It's perfect. But if I can get the official one,
Oh
I
yeah,
might
I'd
go for
eat
that.
that one into the sun. Yeah.
I wouldn't eat this one. I would figure out something else for it, but but
Yeah.
we'll see. Like I'm gonna focus on high elves first. That's what I'm gonna go for. Have you
Mhm.
you're gonna do high elves as well?
Oh, for sure. I think there's a strong chance that at some point, and I might wait until they kind of move past the Bretonians and Tomb Kings and everything, but I will more than likely do a an Orcs and Goblins army. So
Yeah, I'll probably end up doing dark elves eventually. If
mhm.
I'm honest with myself, I will do that eventually just for fun. But
I won't do Dark Elves, and even though I love them, I won't do them until they get a little bit bigger of a role in the old world. So
yeah,
I'll
no,
hold that off for a future hobby project.
sure,
So
yeah, like not talking right away, but there is always the fun of like doing something different. Like I've never done an Empire army. I
yeah,
mean, I painted my
I,
Stormcast like the Reichsguard because I never got the chance to do an Empire army. So like maybe this is a chance where I'll do an Empire army eventually too. Pick one of the city states and have fun with that.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Now
Absolutely.
let me ask you this little bonus here at the end as we wrap up. Have you decided which of the 10 kingdoms your high elf army is going to be from, or are you going to pull from everything like a Kingsguard?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I never actually thought about that. So I guess we'll. I want to see how when the book comes out, what it has to offer me. Then maybe we'll play from there.
Well,
So, but
maybe
usually
we
been from
I'll
your
say
rests.
maybe for a review, I can probably find a scanned copy of it too. But I have the High Elf heraldry book and uniforms that talks about each of the kingdoms as well as all of their gates, like the Dragon Gate, Unicorn Gate.
Oh yes.
So
Uh-huh.
we could have a fun conversation and board everybody that's not a High Elf person for our show here
That's right.
soon.
That's okay. They got to get it somewhere, right? We'll make
Exactly.
high elf fans if we don't have them. So.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Gotta bring back pretty faces. So no, this article, yeah, got me jazzed up too. I can't wait to see more. There was also a very interesting image. Let me see if I can get up here. I forgot to send it to you, Neil. Where did I put it? Nope, I must have deleted it. Oh well. Uh, it was they're doing stamps in the UK. They're doing 40K, Age of Sigmar, and Old World. And it talked about Old World being very soon and just all the happy stuff. And also in the I forget some YouTube reported on this on the financial reports that are public. It talked about
Yeah.
Old World being very soon or something
Yeah.
like that
I
line.
just listened to that same thing today, actually, on the way home from work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if GW is saying it's soon, then it's soon. So let's hope it's soon. We don't know when, but hopefully it's very soon.
Right.
But
It'll
yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But Neil, any closing thoughts before we head out?
no, just I've been kind of poo-pooing stuff as the we've been doing preview shows and not been giving the what I wanted. This was exactly what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
More of this, please, on a weekly basis, please. Um,
Yeah.
would be nice. So yeah, good job, GW.
Yep. It is good. It's good. I guess my closing statements is let's go U.S. soccer team. Go.
There we go. Yeah,
Let's see the women do what the men can't and go win the World Cup.
let's beat the Dutch.
Let's go beat the Dutch tonight. Yeah, because we're recording Thursday night. In a half hour, me and Neil are gonna be having a beer watching the U.S. women's soccer
Yeah.
team crush
FX
the
or Fox,
Dutch.
Fox, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
All
just
right.
streamed online somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, legally sourced, of course.
Of course.
All right, take care, everybody. Stay Stormcast strong. Happy hobbying.